Hello everyone, Kerckhoffs here. I am going to color this 36 by 24 inch photo, which is mounted on a gator board. And this is a shot that I took at Beacons in Leucadia, California. And to get to this beach, there's this path, I call it the path, and you have to like zigzag down to the beach. And I'm going to use my Marshall photo oils, like these, to put color on. These are very translucent oil paints, and I'm going to use makeup pads and Q-tips to add the color. So let's get this done. So I like to start with large surfaces first. So I'm going to start with burnt sienna, which is actually most of the image. And I'm going to put that on with a cotton round. Let's see, let's start here. I like this image because there's a lot of layers here. There's a lot of horizontal stuff going on. Like we have the clouds in the sky, ocean, breaking waves, wet sand, dry sand, a layer where another tide reached, and then we have the bluffs with the path going up, plus some railing. I like to put it on thick first and then go over with a clean cotton round and make it a little lighter. Also, you can see I'm going over the lifeguard tower, but I'll fix that later with Q-tips. Even the railing here, I'm not too careful yet. This is matte photo paper. It was printed with a light jet. It's resin-coated photo paper, and it's perfect for these Marshall photo oils. You can wipe it off very easily, and that's how I like to work with these. So I put it on and then wipe off the areas where I don't want it or make it lighter. If I do this with, like, say, oils on canvas or acrylics on canvas or even pastels on paper, then I work really carefully and try not to go over certain areas, over the lines, if you will. But that's the easy part of the Marshall photo oils in combination with this resin-coated photo paper. There's a lot of erosion going on, unfortunately, at this part of the bluffs, and I think that this path might be replaced one day with like stairs going down to the beach. There are many stairs in other locations. As you can see, also I'm just going over this wooden pole here. So I'm going to wait with this last part here. I can still hold onto the photo, literally with my hands. So first I finish the rest of the image. So let's make this part a lot lighter with a clean cotton round. I wanted to get like more saturated and darker as we get more closer to the viewer. So I still remove this a little bit, but not as much as I did over here. Okay. Now let's remove the paint off the railing with Q-tips. You can see how relatively easy it comes off. Same for the lifeguard tower. The roof of the lifeguard tower, I think in reality is white, and the rest of it is like a raw sienna. Raw sienna, between yellow and raw sienna, maybe a yellow ochre. But I'll do that later. Okay, that looks pretty good now. Maybe remove a little bit of some of this part of the water. Good. Let's take a new clean Q-tip and start on this part of the white railing. There we go. And then I still would like, I'm not going to bother with the smallest ones in the back here that are the furthest, but I will remove some of the color on like the medium range railing here. And I'll use very pointy Q-tips. These are called ITs. As you can see, they're very pointy. They're good for the very detailed work. See? I would say this width here is probably only 1/16 of an inch. And this already looks a lot better with this paint removed on the widest areas. It's like you're adding back in contrast. Putting the paint on doesn't take that much time. It's actually taking care of the details like this, removing the paint, that takes the longest. And I think this is also the most fun part, really. Okay, but now let's add some blue to the ocean. So this is ultra blue, extra strong, and I don't want to just add one blue to the ocean, but I'm going to start with that ultra blue back here and work my way down and go to different blue, sky blue. You have to be careful with the horizon. Still, I'm going over it a little bit, but again, I'm going to remove that later. Let's add a little thicker back here. I'm kind of smoothing it out a little bit now, so it looks a little bit more uniform. Okay, that's it for that blue. Now let's grab some sky blue, which I'll put in the ocean. So this tube is breaking up and the paint is coming out in different locations now. It's a little more saturated, more towards green. Gives it a little more interest to add some different colors to bigger surfaces, so it's not all one color. It's a very subtle look, but it's there. And then of course the widest areas here where the water was breaking, where the waves were breaking, I'm gonna leave that white. There we go. Now again, let's take a Q-tip and remove some of that paint that got above the horizon. That's a boat. There, nice and straight horizon. Let's add a little tad of blue into the clouds though. I think that will look nice. Let's do that with another one. I'm going to use Chinese blue, which I think is again a tad more to the green side. I'm not going to do that everywhere. I'm not going to add this color everywhere. So this may have been an HDR photo, I don't remember. I can look it up when I edit the video. Some very light areas of blue here. I'm not pushing very hard. I'm kind of just using up the paint that's now on my cotton round. Maybe could use a little more back here. Okay, so now let's take a clean cotton round, and then the roughest areas, we'll smooth that out now. Getting rid of some of these hard edges. See how it's picking it up? There. That's looking nice. The other thing I like to do, let's bring a little bit back of these highlights in the water with a Q-tip. Not pushing very hard, but you can see it's picking up the color. Okay, back to land. Let's take some oxide green. You don't need very much of this paint. These tubes go for years, depending on how much you use, of course. Like this tube, I probably replace it after 3 years or so. Mostly I go through my blues and my burnt sienna. I use those a lot. Okay, pick up some of that green and let's add some of that to the bushes here. I don't remember if this really was green, and I don't mind, I don't care. I just like to break up the color of all this burnt sienna, and that's a nice thing about coloring your photos. You don't really have to go with what the original scene looked like. You can make it whatever you want. I have turned photos that I shot around noon, turned into sunsets and sunrises. You can do selective coloring, where you just pick out an object, leave the rest untouched. And then for some of these smaller areas here, I'll take a Q-tip and add some green, that way. And it's also nice to add a little bit of yellow in there, so I'm going to grab some yellow. Not much. It's just cadmium yellow. And then just add a few little touches of yellow here and there. And that's it. Let's work on the tower. So for that I like to use raw sienna, and which is like a yellower version of the burnt sienna. But usually for the color of these towers I might add a little bit of more of yellow. But let's see how this turns out. If you put it on very lightly, it might look too much the same as the sand, and it does. So I'm going to add some more yellow. And this is paint, so you can mix these colors. So I'm going to mix some of that yellow with the raw sienna. Again, I'm putting it on a little thicker than I want it. This is too much now, but I'm going to remove that. I'll make it thinner. Okay. So take cotton round. Just wipe it off. Of course, not all of it. That looks good. Gonna keep it that way. So now let's add some more color to the wood. And these are still pretty big, so I'm just going to use a cotton round I used already. Pick up some of that burnt sienna I used earlier. And I'll stay away from the edges. I'm going to finish it with Q-tips. I have several images of beacons. This is just one of them. This one's actually called Beacons. Okay, now I'm gonna finish it with a Q-tip, because now I don't want to go over the lines anymore. Let's add some blotches of that burnt sienna to these sticks here. Just like that. There we go. And then these wooden poles back here, you can have a little more color. These are pretty dark, so I don't really have to do it with that one. This guy. It's better also to put it a little lighter on the side where the photo is lighter, and a little more on the darker side of this pole. There you go. And the last one here. And there's some kind of stick here. I'll add some to that too. And these branches here. I think we're almost done. Just have to finish the front here. So I'm not adding the color uniformly. As you can see, I have like some darker areas, some lighter ones. That looks good. Let's add a little bit more here, just to add a little bit of more contrast in the rest of the scene. And then remove it in some locations. I'll make it lighter. Just to bring in some highlights here and there. This can use a little less over here. A lot of paint on the Q-tip that I picked up. And the image is ready. A 36 by 24 inch photo on matte resin-coated photo paper. An image of beacons colored with Marshall photo oils. And I will see you next time.